From 1964 to 1966, the Munsters brought spooky fun and quirky charm to American television, turning a family of friendly monsters into household favorites. With Herman, Lily Grandpa Eddie, and Marilyn the sitcom mixed classic monster imagery with hilarious everyday situations, quickly becoming a cult classic. Though it only lasted 2 seasons, its impact on pop culture has endured for decades. But what happened to the cast after the show ended? In 2025, some went on to long Hollywood careers, others chose quieter lives, and a few left behind unforgettable legacies. Join us as we look back at the Munsters cast. Then and now. Fred Gwynne was born on July 10, 1926 in New York City and was 38 years old when the Munsters premiered in 1964, taking on the role of Herman Munster, the towering, bumbling, Frankenstein-inspired patriarch, whose naive optimism, gentle nature, and physical comedy won the hearts of millions. Herman's charm was built on innocence and a childlike curiosity, providing a perfect foil to his family's macabre antics, and Gwynne's performance imbued him with warmth, humanity, and subtle social satire that resonated far beyond the show's comedic surface. Gwynne's childhood, however, was marked by intellectual pressure and familial expectation. He was the son of a prominent family that prized achievement, leaving him feeling isolated and constantly measured against impossible standards. He endured teasing and emotional neglect experiences that he later channeled into the awkward vulnerability and physical expressiveness of Herman. Gwynne's career was an uneven mix of stage triumphs, film successes, and Hollywood typecasting that both elevated and constrained him. His towering frame, once an asset, became a limiting factor in being offered diverse roles, and he quietly resented the industry for pigeonholing him in comedic roles despite his dramatic talent. Personal tragedy further shaped his life. His young son Dylan tragically drowned in the family pool, an event that plunged Gwynne into profound grief and contributed to periods of withdrawal and reclusiveness. While known for his affable demeanor and intelligence, colleagues noted his bouts of stubbornness and dark humor, a reflection of his complex personality. Gwynne eventually focused on writing and illustrating children's books, cultivating a quieter life centered on art, theater, and family. He passed away on July 2, 1993, at the age of 66 from pancreatic cancer in New York City, leaving an estate estimated at $2 or $3 million derived from residuals, book royalties, and smart investments, a modest sum that belied the cultural impact of his work. His legacy endures not only as the iconic Herman Munster, but as a multi-talented artist who balanced public adoration with private sorrow, leaving an indelible imprint on American television history. Yvonne. DeCarlo born. Margaret Yvonne. Middleton, on September 1, 1922, in Vancouver, Canada, was 42 when she assumed the role of Lily Munster in 1964, portraying the elegant, commanding, and sharp-witted matriarch who anchored the Gothic household with a combination of regal poise, biting humor, and maternal protectiveness. Lily's presence provided a stabilizing influence amid the show's fantastical chaos, her sardonic wit and sophisticated demeanor endearing her to audiences while offering subtle commentary on gender and family dynamics. DeCarlo's childhood was far from idyllic. She grew up in a family of modest means, often moving and facing strict discipline experiences that instilled resilience, but also a deep sense of personal insecurity that would follow her into adulthood. Her career was both illustrious and fraught with challenges. A celebrated Technicolor film star in the 1940s and 1950s, she faced a decline in cinematic prestige, typecasting, and initial discomfort with the exaggerated green makeup that transformed her into Lily, which reportedly caused her emotional distress. Her personal life was similarly turbulent, marked by the accidental amputation of her husband Robert Morgan's leg and the devastating early death of her son Michael from a stroke, compounding her grief and affecting her health. DiCarlo's forthrightness and resilience were evident in her 1987 autobiography, where she revealed the harsh realities behind Hollywood glamour. She also cultivated a modest but diversified portfolio across film, television, stage, and music, resulting in an estate valued at approximately $2 million at her death on January 8, 2007, at age 84 from heart failure. DiCarlo's legacy combines enduring screen presence, personal fortitude, and a capacity to transform tragedy into strength, leaving Lily Munster as one of the most iconic matriarchs in television history. While her life story underscores the human vulnerabilities behind the veneer of Hollywood stardom. Al Lewis, born Abraham Meister on April 30th, 1923 in New York City, was 41 when he first portrayed Grandpa Munster in 1964, bringing to life the eccentric, mischief-making vampire whose mad scientist persona and irrepressible wit became a cornerstone of the show's offbeat humor. Grandpa's role demanded a balance of theatrical exaggeration and subtle paternal affection, and Lewis delivered with uncanny timing, making the character simultaneously frightening, endearing, and hilariously absurd. Lewis's upbringing was marked by financial instability and familial turbulence in an immigrant household, which cultivated a resilient, audacious personality and an early appetite for storytelling and performance. His career was colored by controversy and bold self-expression. A flamboyant presence both on and off-screen, he often clashed with authority figures and courted scandal with audacious political activism, including gubernatorial campaigns under the Green Party and outspoken criticism of drug laws and the death penalty. Lewis's personal narrative included embellishments, most notably claims of a PhD from Columbia University, which remain unverified but enhanced his larger-than-life persona. His private life was no less dramatic. He navigated turbulent romantic relationships, endured serious health setbacks, including a leg amputation, and maintained connections with controversial figures, adding to the mystique surrounding him. Despite these challenges, he remained a compelling public figure until his death on February 3, 2006, at age 82, leaving an estate estimated between $102 million, composed of income from public appearances, restaurant ventures, and ongoing royalties. Lewis's life was a tapestry of audacity, resilience, and relentless individuality, and his performance as Grandpa Munster continues to captivate audiences as a masterclass in blending eccentricity, humor, and genuine warmth. Beverly Owen, born May 13, 1937 in Ottumwa, Iowa, was 27 when she originated the role of Marilyn Munster in 1964, portraying the sweet, wholesome, and slightly melancholic young woman navigating life in a family of monsters. Her Marilyn was endearing in her quiet yearning for normalcy, an archetype that juxtaposed innocence against the comic grotesquerie of the Munsters, and Owen's portrayal brought warmth, relatability, and a subtle sense of melancholy that resonated deeply with viewers despite her short tenure. Owen's early life was marked by modest means and academic promise, but also a keen awareness of societal expectations, which she often found constraining and at odds with her artistic inclinations. Professionally, her abrupt departure from the series after just 13 episodes was driven by personal choice to marry John Stone, co-creator of Sesame Street. Yet it was also tinged with private dissatisfaction with Hollywood's demands and the creative limitations of her role, making her career trajectory a study in both opportunity and sacrifice. She faced challenges in her personal life, including a divorce in 1974, yet pursued further education, earning a master's degree in early American history, and forged a quiet academic life away from the public eye. Owen deliberately avoided the trappings and scandals of show business, focusing instead on intellectual fulfillment and private accomplishment. She died on February 21, 2019, at age 81 from ovarian cancer, having lived a life of thoughtful reflection and measured achievement. While her net worth was not publicly disclosed, it is believed to have been modest, likely under $1 million, reflecting her brief Hollywood career and her dedication to scholarship. Beverly Owen's legacy endures in her pioneering embodiment of Marilyn Munster, a delicate balance of charm, vulnerability, and subtle humor, leaving an indelible mark on classic television history despite her brief time in the limelight. Harvey Korman, born February 15, 1927 in Chicago, was 37 when he appeared in The Munsters in 1964 as Dr. Leinbach, a comic foil whose eccentricity mirrored Korman's own flair for theatrical exaggeration and precise comedic timing. Korman's early years were shaped by a working-class environment and a childhood of intermittent upheaval, which included periods of teasing and ostracism due to his lanky frame, expressive face, and innate tendency toward mimicry traits that would later define his comedic style. He learned early to channel insecurity into performance, developing a meticulous attention to timing and delivery that became his hallmark. His career, while extraordinarily successful, was not without turmoil. He became a beloved television icon on The Carol Burnett Show, yet was known for clashing with directors and producers over creative control, exhibiting perfectionist tendencies and occasional temperamental outbursts. He struggled with balancing personal and professional life, enduring 2 marriages, one ending in divorce, and periods of isolation that contrasted with his public image as a gregarious entertainer. Korman faced the challenge of transitioning after The Carol Burnett Show ended, striving to maintain relevance amid shifting comedic tastes while contending with typecasting. Additionally, minor episodes of alcohol overindulgence and the pressures of maintaining his high standards on set occasionally led to tense working relationships, though his undeniable talent often overshadowed these conflicts. He died on May 29, 2008, at age 81 from complications following a ruptured abdominal aortic aneurysm. Korman's net worth at death was estimated at $25 million, a reflection of decades of television, film, and stage success. His career serves as a study in both the triumphs and tensions inherent in sustaining a high-profile comedic legacy, blending extraordinary talent, personal vulnerability, and relentless ambition that left a lasting imprint on American entertainment. Paul Lynde, born June 13, 1926, in Mount Vernon, Ohio, was 38 when he appeared on The Munsters in 1964 as Dr. Edward Dudley, a role that allowed him to deploy his trademark sardonic wit and campy flamboyance to inject a unique layer of sophistication and biting humor into the series' otherwise macabre domestic comedy. Dr. Dudley's exaggerated gestures and witty quips made him an unforgettable foil to the Munsters' eerie normalcy, offering the audience both satire and charm, and cementing Lynde's reputation as a comedic innovator capable of balancing humor with vulnerability. His early life was turbulent. Born into a conservative, financially strained household during the Great Depression, Lynde endured persistent emotional neglect and ridicule for his naturally effeminate mannerisms. These experiences instilled in him both a defensive sharpness and a need to conceal his authentic self-traits that later shaped his public persona and professional approach. Career-wise, he faced systemic obstacles, typecast as campy or supporting characters battling alcoholism that at times disrupted production schedules, and struggling against Hollywood's discrimination toward LGBTQ performers. One of the most notorious setbacks was his dismissal from a high-profile television special due to intoxication, a scandal that briefly overshadowed his career and fueled tabloid fodder. Personal life challenges compounded his professional difficulties. Though his sexuality remained largely private, he navigated clandestine relationships and the societal pressures of the time while enduring periods of isolation and public scrutiny. Health issues plagued his later years, exacerbated by substance abuse, culminating in a fatal heart attack on January 10, 1982, at age 55. At the time of his death, his estate was valued at approximately $1 million, primarily from his long tenure on Hollywood squares and residuals from theater and television work. John Carradine, born February 5, 1906, in New York City, was 58 when he portrayed the menacing and theatrical Mr. Gateman in The Munsters in 1965, a character that leveraged his iconic baritone voice, commanding presence, and mastery of Gothic and melodramatic style to inject gravitas and dark humor into the show's comedic horror landscape. Mr. Gateman's ominous demeanor and exaggerated villainy highlighted Carradine's capacity to embody both menace and sophistication, creating an indelible impression in the audience's imagination. Carradine's childhood was fraught with instability and abuse. His stepfather was physically and emotionally harsh, shaping his early worldview and fostering a rebellious and resilient streak that manifested in both his personal and professional life. His career was a volatile mix of artistic triumph and financial struggle, spanning more than 350 film and television appearances encompassing Shakespearean theater, classic horror films, and low-budget genre pieces. Despite his professional success, Carradine faced chronic challenges, eccentricity and volatility on set, frequent clashes with directors, the pressures of a public personal life involving 4 marriages and numerous high-profile children, and the unpredictability of the B-movie market. His most significant professional setback was the persistent undercompensation and exploitation on lesser studio productions, which deprived him of financial security despite his prolific output. Personal struggles were extensive, including managing multiple family dynamics, navigating fame, and enduring public scrutiny over his sometimes erratic behavior. Carradine passed away on November 27, 1988, at age 82 from heart and kidney failure. His estate, valued at roughly $500,000, reflected both a life devoted to artistic achievement over financial gain and the practical consequences of working extensively in passion projects and low-budget films. Val Avery, born July 14, 1924 in Philadelphia, was 40 when he played Marty in The Munsters in 1964, a small but memorable role in line with the gruff, intimidating personas that defined his career. On screen, Avery exuded toughness, gangsters, mobsters, mechanics, and bartenders. But off-screen, the reality was darker and more fragile. Born to Armenian immigrants who survived the genocide, Avery carried a lifelong sense of displacement and inherited trauma that he rarely discussed, but that infused his work with an authenticity audiences could feel. His childhood was one of hardship overshadowed by poverty, and a father embittered by exile, and he often sought solace in theater as a way to escape a turbulent home. Though he became a prolific character actor with appearances in over 100 films and 300 television episodes, his career was littered with frustrations. He was perpetually typecast, rarely offered the chance to explore his true range, and known within the industry to have an explosive temper that sometimes alienated collaborators. At least once, he was removed from a production after a heated confrontation with a director who accused him of undermining authority on set. His marriage to actress Margot Stevenson endured for decades, but was not without strife, as his mood swings and obsession with work placed strain on the family dynamic. Friends noted he had a penchant for heavy drinking during low points, a habit that nearly derailed his career in the 1970s before he regained stability. Val Avery died on December 12, 2009, at age 85 in Greenwich Village, New York, from natural causes, leaving behind an estate valued between $1–2 million, built from a lifetime of steady, though unglamorous work. His legacy is bittersweet. A man whose raw authenticity on screen masked a private battle with anger and regret, forever trapped between the respect of being indispensable and the pain of never being a leading man. Jane Withers, born April 12, 1926, in Atlanta, Georgia, was 38 when she played the eccentric Fanny Pike in The Munsters in 1964, a role that captured her trademark quirkiness and comedic timing, reminiscent of the bratty child star persona that once made her Shirley Temple's on-screen nemesis in Bright Eyes. Audiences adored the way she infused Fanny with oddball charm, but behind the camera, Withers had long wrestled with the contradictions of her life. She was thrust into the spotlight at just 3 years old, pushed by an ambitious mother, and endured endless taunts from jealous peers who mocked her precocious fame. By adulthood, she struggled to transition from child star to respected actress, facing years of rejection and humiliation from directors who dismissed her as a relic of the 1930s studio system. Though she later found steady work in commercials and voice acting, including a lucrative run as Josephine the Plumber for Comet Cleanser, her career contained shadows. She was rumored to be controlling on set, often demanding retakes until she was satisfied, and she feuded with producers over creative differences. Her personal life was no less complicated. 2 marriages, both ending in divorce, left her emotionally scarred, and her children frequently distanced themselves from her during these tumultuous years. Despite her philanthropy and well-known generosity, she battled loneliness and health problems in her later decades, confiding to friends that fame had stolen her ability to trust easily. Jane Withers died on August 7, 2021, at age 95, in Burbank, California, from natural causes. At the time of her death, her estate, valued at around $5 million, included real estate holdings, collectibles, including a world-renowned doll collection and royalties from Disney voice work. Her legacy is one of dazzling resilience, the story of a woman who grew from Hollywood's bratty child star into an eccentric yet quietly tragic figure whose warmth never fully erased the scars of a difficult life. John Fiedler, born February 3, 1925 in Platteville, Wisconsin, was 39 when he took on the role of Warren Bloom in The Munsters, portraying a timid, anxious figure who served as a comedic and moral counterpoint to the eccentric, often grotesque Munster family. Fiedler's Warren Bloom embodied the quintessential everyman, his meekness and vulnerability, eliciting empathy while heightening the contrast with the Munsters' extraordinary antics, enhancing the audience's connection to the show's surreal world. His childhood was characterized by economic hardship and social marginalization. Growing up during the Great Depression in a modest household, Fiedler endured frequent teasing and derision for his delicate build, soft voice, and quiet demeanor. This early social alienation cultivated an introspective nature and a reliance on precision and subtlety in his craft. Professionally, Fiedler faced chronic typecasting as nervous, effeminate, or timid characters, limiting his opportunities despite his exceptional versatility and depth, which he demonstrated in roles such as Juror Number 2 in 12 Angry Men and as the voice of Piglet in Disney's Winnie the Pooh franchise. Though he avoided scandal, Fiedler's personal life was marked by solitude and introspection. He never married and maintained a private, disciplined existence, shielding himself from Hollywood's social pressures and gossip. He also navigated the instability of a career reliant on the declining mediums of radio stage and supporting television roles, often balancing artistic fulfillment against financial necessity. Fiedler died on June 25, 2005, at age 80 from cancer, leaving an estate valued at approximately $2 million, derived from residuals, voice work, and decades of steady performances. His career legacy is one of understated mastery. A character actor whose subtlety, reliability, and nuanced portrayals brought depth to countless productions, proving that meticulous craft and understated talent could create lasting cultural impact without the trappings of scandal or sensationalism. Chet Stratton, born July 31, 1910, in Paterson, New Jersey, was 54 when he appeared in The Munsters in 1964 as Clyde Thornton, a minor but memorable character whose presence added a touch of grounded reality to the otherwise fantastical household. Stratton's early life was marked by financial instability and familial tension. His parents struggled to make ends meet during the Great Depression, forcing young Chet into work at a tender age while navigating frequent ridicule from peers for his small stature and theatrical ambitions. He turned to performance as an escape touring in vaudeville as a teenager, which instilled both discipline and a hardened resilience, though the constant pressure to perform also led to bouts of anxiety and self-doubt he learned to mask behind bravado. His career was a series of highs and lows, from Broadway productions to radio broadcasts and sporadic television appearances. He faced repeated setbacks, including canceled shows, uncredited roles, and extended periods of unemployment. During these lean years, he even took odd jobs such as selling washing machines to survive, demonstrating a practical resourcefulness seldom seen in actors of his era. Stratton's reputation for reliability on set contrasted with his private battles against depression and chronic fatigue, and though he never became a leading man, his colleagues respected his professionalism and understated talent. Personal life remained quiet and largely scandal-free. He had a stable marriage, but no public romances, avoiding Hollywood's limelight while dedicating himself to craft. Stratton's death on July 7, 1970, at age 59, from a heart attack or stroke in Los Angeles, ended a life defined by perseverance rather than fame. His estate was modest, estimated under $500,000, reflecting a career built on resilience, versatility, and the relentless pursuit of a place in an industry that often overlooked him, leaving a legacy of a consummate character actor who contributed depth and authenticity to early American television. Butch Patrick, born August 2, 1953 in Inglewood, California, was only 11 years old when he assumed the role of Eddie Munster in 1964, becoming the mischievous werewolf-spirited son with a wide-eyed innocence and a devilish grin that captivated audiences. Eddie's character was both impish and endearing, a child torn between normalcy and monstrous antics, who navigated the surreal world of the Munsters with loyalty and humor, providing both comic relief and emotional depth to the show's offbeat family dynamic. Behind the scenes, Butch's life was far from the whimsical fantasy of the television set. His childhood, though punctuated by fame, was marked by insecurity, isolation, and the pressures of growing up under Hollywood's relentless gaze. Early rejection and typecasting created a sense of vulnerability, compounded by teasing from peers and the challenge of reconciling a child's star identity with adolescence. His career trajectory experienced dramatic highs and lows. After The Munsters ended, he grappled with substance abuse, financial instability, and public obscurity at times, living in his car and relying on brief convention appearances for income. Despite these hardships, Butch reinvented himself as a cult nostalgia figure, touring fan expos, recording novelty music, and embracing his iconic role with humor and candor, though never without candid admissions of depression and struggles with self-worth. His personal life included a marriage to Layla Murray, providing some stability after years of tumult, but he faced the ongoing challenge of balancing public expectation with private healing. In 2025, at 72, His net worth is estimated at $250,000, reflecting both his enduring cult status and the setbacks he endured. Butch Patrick's life story embodies the bittersweet reality of early fame, a blend of cultural immortality and personal struggle, leaving a legacy that continues to enchant fans while offering a cautionary tale about the pressures of child stardom. Willis Boucher, born May 24, 1907 in Vernon, Michigan, was 57 when he portrayed the stern Mr. Bradley in The Munsters in 1964, a role in keeping with his long-running typecast as judges, colonels, and figures of rigid authority. His commanding presence made him a Hollywood staple, particularly within John Ford's stock company, where he became known as a dependable supporting player. Yet his private life was far more enigmatic than the polished authority he projected. Raised in a conservative Midwestern household during the Great Depression, Boucher faced constant financial instability and the humiliation of working menial jobs before breaking into acting. His career gained traction in radio and television, but he carried a reputation for being aloof and difficult to befriend, often accused of arrogance by younger actors who found him unapproachable. Though he never became embroiled in headline-grabbing scandal whispers circulated of his disdain for directors, he deemed incompetent and of his willingness to undercut co-stars for screen time. The most haunting chapter of his career was his exclusion from larger film roles in the 1960s after studios deemed him too old-fashioned and stiff for the changing cinematic landscape, a rejection that embittered him in his final years. Boucher's personal life was intensely private, his marriage largely absent from the public eye, and his death on September 27, 1977, at age 70 in Burbank, California, was marked by mystery as no official cause was disclosed, fueling speculation of long-hidden health struggles. His estate, modestly valued at under $500,000, consisted mainly of residuals and a small property reflecting the financial limitations of a dependable but uncelebrated career. Willis Boucher remains an overlooked figure, remembered for a single iconic line in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, and a career that exemplified the quiet tragedy of Hollywood journeymen, essential but never exalted authoritative on screen, yet fragile in the shadows. Pat Priest, born August 15, 1936 in Bountiful, Utah, stepped into the shoes of Marilyn Munster at age 28 in 1964, bringing elegance, charm, and the ironic twist of normalcy to a house of grotesque characters. Marilyn's role was that of the beautiful blonde, ordinary member of the Munster clan, whose every attempt to be normal contrasted humorously with her monstrous family, creating a dynamic of tension, comedy, and subtle pathos that made her character memorable, despite being surrounded by overtly outlandish personalities. Priest's upbringing was steeped in privilege and political prominence. Her mother, Ivy Baker Priest, was U.S. Treasurer under Eisenhower, but she was not immune to familial pressures, public scrutiny, and the expectations tied to her family name, fostering a disciplined and resilient personality. Professionally, Priest navigated a challenging Hollywood landscape, where beauty often overshadowed talent, facing periods of typecasting, industry rejection, and behind-the-scenes conflicts over creative direction. She achieved notable success, appearing alongside icons like Elvis Presley and securing guest roles in Bewitched and Perry Mason, yet chose to retire in the 1980s, redirecting her energies to real estate development and renovation, where she found financial stability and creative control. Her personal life included navigating private health challenges, including a diagnosis of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2001, which she overcame, and she cultivated a long-term marriage balancing privacy with public recognition. Today, at age 89, Pat Priest enjoys a quiet, accomplished life in Idaho, with a net worth estimated at $3 million, reflecting both her post-Hollywood ventures and the enduring affection of fans who remember her nuanced, charming portrayal of Marilyn Munster. Her story highlights the intersection of celebrity, personal reinvention, and resilience in the face of early fame and societal expectations. Thank you for joining us on this nostalgic journey through classic television history. If you enjoyed learning about the cast of Munsters and where they are now, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more vintage Hollywood retrospectives, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing your memories and suggestions, so let us know which TV show or movie cast you'd like us to feature next.